Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddy Grace Webben.
And today we will be talking about the 8th part of Septerra Core, covering everything prior to boarding Doskius's flagship. But before we get to all of that, Eli, are you okay?
I'm surviving the frost apocalypse of 2021. Fuck Texas. Fuck everything about it.
Yeah.
I've never hated living in the state more than I do right now. And that's saying a lot because I melt if the temperature goes above 80 outside.
Yeah.
It's the fucking worst. And like, I love snow. I think snow is fun and great. Not when it's literally killing people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks.
It sure does.
Like, so many things are coming out. Because, like, when it first happened, I was like, did we learn nothing from the big frost of 1997? Like, I don't have many memories of, like, my life in the 90s that aren't, like, playing toys with my brother. Like, I have no idea what was happening in the world. But I remember in 1997 there being a huge ice storm and the power going out for several days and us having to, like, live by candlelight and stuff like that. Like, I remember that happening back in the day. And so I checked it, and, yeah, the power was out for a week in 1997. So all of the powers that be in Texas were like, well, there's no way that's going to happen again. Crank up the fossil fuels and let's just keep it a pushing. So here they are. You know
what would help? You know what would make this go better next time? Fewer government regulations.
Oh, you're right.
What? That's probably it. That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
And so like that would be bad enough in itself that like, oh, this happened before and we fixed the problem instead of preventing the future problem. But it's also coming out where people are like, oh, hey, so while we were in there repairing the damage the ice did, we noticed these things were going to fail within a year anyways, because Texas just won't spend money on its infrastructure. Yeah. So it's like it was a house of cards the entire time. And all you needed was an ice storm to. So it's like, the thing. Yes, it was fully unprepared for an ice storm, but like a tornado would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Okay. Like not dealing with an obvious problem because you're just hoping that it won't happen because it would be a bit too much of an investment to deal with it now. So you're just like, hopefully the bad thing will never actually happen. You know, hopefully I don't have health insurance, but like, hopefully I'll just never get sick and then it'll be fine. That's fine when I do it. But I don't want my government to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, I work in IT, which I'll get to in a second. Like, I actually work in IT and not just printer IT, but we'll talk about that when I get around to my full turn and not just talking about Texas. But most of my job is, oh, okay, this one random company got a ransomware through an exploit in SMB version 1. So now I have to update every single computer and every single server and all of my friends' computers and my friends' servers and everything that we interact with to not use SMB 1 anymore so that it doesn't happen to us. It sucks. It becomes like a 3-week-long project to do all of the things, but we do that because we don't want us to be ransomware. And it's like, oh, in 1997 Texas was hit with a ransomware attack, and they're like, well, it's probably still okay to just write our passwords on a post-it and keep it on our laptop at all times. That's fine. And
see, the difference, Sam, is that if
crazy.
your company doesn't fix that problem, then you will incur losses, right? So you have to what's the word? Generalize or spread around the costs, right? The sacrifices. Everyone has to sacrifice, and by everyone I mean the workers have to work on this problem for a while. The company has to make a little bit less money because they're paying you to fix that problem instead of doing something else, right? So the sacrifices are generalized, not equally, but still they're generalized. That way, when the losses happen, or rather the safety is also generalized. Everyone doesn't get hurt by the problem that happens in the future. Now, see, the problem is because it's a private company, they can incur the loss. They both have to invest to fix the problem and incur the losses if the problem happens. So that both ways it's on them. But when it comes to a government, specifically a government that is infested with public-private partnerships, you don't have to bother with that. Because imagine if at your job, Sam, you could just say, okay, well, if we want to fix the problem, we have to do it. But what if the problem happens again, it hurts someone else, but not us? See, that changes the calculus entirely. Then you say, oh, so other people suffer if it goes wrong. Well, in that case, we'll just never bother fixing it. You socialize costs and you privatize profits. It's just classic America.
Yeah. I've come to the realization recently that I am very pro-social, and to the point where like not being pro-social doesn't make sense to me. So like when somebody calls me and they're mad because their printer isn't working, I want to fix their printer because they're a human who's mad and having a bad day. And like everyone else on my team currently is just like, oh, we gotta do kid gloves on this one. Like, watch out, minefield incoming. And I'm like, well no, like just
why are you in this line of work?
Help everybody out, right? And so
customer service would be great if it weren't for all the customers.
So that actually does segue really good. Eli, if you have more about your week later, we can circle around to you.
Okay, thanks.
But that does segue into I got a job that's not working for a company whose CEO donated $50,000 to the Trump campaign.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I will be working for Forward Services, which is a nonprofit, and their focus is helping poor people and the like get jobs and loans and all these other things to help pull themselves out of poverty. And
that's awesome.
That's really cool because, like I said, I'm super pro-social, and telling people to turn it off and on again is not necessarily a skill like being a doctor is, or being a social worker is, or doing these other things that like have a direct hand in the doing good. But it's like by working here, I will be able to use my skills to help out people in a way that I care about. And that's super exciting. And I'm
Nice.
really happy for you. That's
really
awesome.
excited. So, fuck my current job completely. Hate it. And I'm glad that I don't have to work there anymore. So, that's the big thing that happened to me this week. The smaller thing that happened to me this week is I caught up on WandaVision, and like, I enjoy the MCU because I'm a shill, but the cinemaphile in me likes the MCU because it uniquely affords them the ability of making a TV movie for a TV show, like in the middle, so they can tell stories that you can't really tell anywhere else. And WandaVision is exactly like that, where you only really know the like Lovecraftian horror that's going on with everything if you know who Scarlet Witch is and Vision is, and you know that Vision's dead, so why the fuck is he on your screen right now? And you know all of the things that aren't lining up, so they can tell a super weird love letter to old sitcoms that's also a Lovecraftian horror story, where also your main hero is also the main villain, but not in like an anti-hero sort of way, where it's like they're just such a relatable villain that you have, and because they wear tights, you have marked them to be the hero, but they're definitely not. And it's some of the best television I've ever watched. And it's weird because I don't give a shit about Scarlet Witch and I don't give a shit about Vision. So I was not thinking this would be great, but I highly recommend it. If you like old TV, it's like every episode is a different decade of television sitcom that you're making your way through, and they get all of the details exactly right. You can tell the writer and directors and everybody just fucking love television, and it's so good, and I highly recommend it. I cannot recommend it enough.
Hell yeah.
Other than that, I've done nothing this week.
Nice.
What
So,
about
what else is Eli, what else is going on with you?
I have water again, so that's cool.
nice?
Yeah, it's this. I took this week off for a few reasons, but mostly I just needed some time to chill and relax, and it has not been very chill or relaxing. The power finally stopped going off. They were doing rolling blackouts for since Monday. Monday is when they started. And I finally got so my electric company is a co-op, and they emailed all of their customers and let them know, like, hey, this is what's been going on. This is why the power has been going out. And just like gave us some actual information about like what the situation was. And so last night at 7:00 p.m., the power had come back on after being out for about an hour and a half. And then I got an email a couple hours later explaining, we're doing these rolling blackouts, so every 3 hours you should see a power outage that lasts about an hour and a half. If it lasts longer than that, then it's probably weather related and you should report that, but please don't call 911 to report power outages. The power has not gone out since then, which I'm very, very, very glad for. My friend Ruth, however,
I've seen people.
She has not had power since Sunday.
God.
Apparently no one in Pflugerville has.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
it's really bad up in that area. I've been talking with someone in Dallas, and anywhere. Sorry, you said Pflugerville, and my brain replaced that city with a different city that is in the Dallas area. Yeah, Pflugerville
Plano?
is also having it a rough time. Yes, that's what my brain did. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Which is why I mentioned Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then another friend of mine, I was streaming a game for a couple of my friends, and in the middle of it, one of them goes, "Oh shit, my upstairs neighbor's pipes burst." And it's getting everywhere. Well, apparently, her entire apartment complex had to be evacuated because the pipes were bursting all throughout. And she and her girlfriend and her cat were able to get out, but pretty much nothing is going to be salvageable.
Jesus Christ.
She was showing us pictures, and there was water coming out of electrical sockets.
God.
Yeah. It's just an absolute fiasco. And of course, our wonderful governor is saying that this is the result of renewable energy. And our wonderful senator, Mr. Rafael Tedward Cruz, decided to go on a fucking vacation.
Yeah.
No, Eli, you missed it.
excuses.
It's not actually him that's bad. It's his shitty bitch daughter who's bad and wanted to go on vacation.
Yeah, who wanted to go on vacation with her friends. God, what the fuck?
Yeah. He couldn't be there for you because he doesn't understand how to tell a child no. Which
Or how to tell a child.
I did about 7 times today.
Or to tell a child, and perhaps the child's mom, hey, y'all go to Cancun without me. I don't need to, walk. Okay, it's like broke, walking someone to the terminal. Woke, walking someone to the other terminal. After you get off the plane.
Yeah.
It's like, I was just accompanying them on the plane.
Yeah.
Like a normal thing to do.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure they were safe on the plane. Yeah, so everything in Texas is kind of fucked. I am extremely fortunate in that I have power at this point, and I have running water, and I was able to take a shower. It was my first shower in 3 days, which I know that sounds really gross. You're right, it is. It's disgusting. I felt awful, but hey, I'm showered now. So,
right. If anyone listening to this would like to know about what exactly is going on in Texas and why it's so bad beyond just like normal stuff, my magazine.
Oh yeah, I learned about this. I learned about this very.
My
recently.
magazine of choice, Jacobin Magazine, published a really, really good article today. I'm surprised at how quickly they got this article out. It's like very long and in depth. Called "Millions of Texans Are Freezing Right Now. Our deregulated electrical grid is to blame." Right? Pretty basic name. Anyway, it's on the front page of Jacobin if you just want to check it out. It's really good, and it goes into a lot of why everything is the way it is. Through reading that article, I found out that out of Texas's 4 nuclear plants, one of them has failed, and it's the one in my hometown, Bay City. So once again, Bay City is on the map.
Congratulations, you did it.
Bay City also had the first COVID death in Texas.
Oh, great.
Which ironically, it's actually been surprisingly COVID free. I mean, not COVID free, but I mean, it's a small town. You don't get pandemics as bad if you're in a small rural town, right? So, but funny thing, they were on national news for that back in the day. But yeah, now about a year later, they're national news for being the city where the nuclear plant shut down. And of course, I don't say that to disparage any of the nuclear plant workers in Bay City, many of whom
it's not their fault,
right? But like, I hope they're doing okay. I hope all of you in Bay City, Texas, if any of you are listening to a podcast about RPGs, fucking solidarity with y'all. That sucks. It sucks that y'all's plant shut down, and I'm sure you're having to work hell of overtime. Stay safe. But anyway, it's funny. I saw that one of the plants had shut down and that it was STP1, and I was like, hey, that's me.
Yeah, it's just been absolutely nightmarish, and like I already do not super enjoy living here in Texas, for a variety of reasons, but this is just and I know they're not going to learn a fucking thing from it.
Yep.
Nope.
But yeah, I mean, like, one of my friends was telling me, like, oh, apparently you all aren't on the national grid. And then a friend of mine who moved to California to start working on the WoW dev team was like, this is the problem with Texas being off the national grid. I was just like, wow, I seriously never knew that until, like, you and this other friend had told me.
Yep.
So
it's a very big, complicated clusterfuck. I saw a tweet today from some ghoul, one of the many ghouls running our state, or y'all state, I guess. It's still my state in my heart. I wish I had the quote. I should have saved the tweet, but it was like, the guy was like, millions of it's like everyone in Texas they basically were like, everyone in Texas is willing to make the sacrifice if it keeps the government out of our energy grid.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Not me.
No.
Like, that's, hey, those other people, they're all dying so that, all the shares that I probably have in the oil company, so that number go up, my number go up, their number go down, but my number go up. So really, who's to say if it's bad or not?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So,
God.
Other than that, BlizzCon is this week. Big fucking deal.
Yeah, it is BlizzCon, isn't it?
Like, it's hard to care when all this shit is happening. And I say that with all the love in my heart for the company I work for, but like, I've got, coworkers that are just they're having
there's things happening. There's stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been really stressful, and this time I took off to relax is not been very relaxing.
Yep.
No.
Although it's at least more relaxing than it would be if you were also working this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine being frozen solid and then taking a web chat.
Yeah, trying to be on help desk right now would not be good for my mental health.
I have a hard enough time streaming Septerra Core when it gets a little bit too late at night because my hands get cold and it's hard for me to click my mouse and navigate my little character because my hands are cold. So I have to wear gloves, but then it's hard to control because I'm wearing gloves.
Oh man, you could wear fancy evening gloves.
Yeah, those wouldn't keep my hands warm though.
Wouldn't they?
Well, I would have had to already have them. But yeah, so if my hands get cold just playing Septerra Core, I can only imagine having to use a computer while freezing your ass off. You hit the wrong button because your hands are shaking. That sucks.
Yeah, famously, Septerra Core with its 2-button control layout is too much for Maddy when it's cold. Imagine using every other button.
It would also be difficult to use my computer if it's cold because the power is out.
True.
Oh, that too. Here's the thing. My housemate / landlady for the next week is a prepper. So she has 4 fucking power generators, which on one hand it's weird to live with a prepper because she's always look, I bought a ham radio. Look, I bought a year's worth of food. She's it's been getting worse in the 2 years I lived here. She's been getting more and more into this prepper stuff. It's a little weird. But hey, when the power goes out, I actually can use the internet. So
nice.
Now who's the one who's not hey, you know what? I will eat my hats. That has happened a few times. Not due to blizzard, but due to the power's out because the power line fell down, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Ken and I are doing okay.
That's good.
I feel just awful for everybody who isn't doing okay. I know there's so many people and word to the wise, no matter how cold it gets, please do not go into your car in your garage and turn it on.
Don't do it.
To keep warm.
Do not do that.
No. Bad idea. There's already been several people who have died of carbon monoxide poisoning, and I just don't want... Yeah, I don't want to have to hear that happening to anyone else. I know it sucks. And, I can't even let Ruth use my guest room because it's not safe to drive over here.
Yeah.
If the roads weren't so fucked, then I could at least give my best friend a warm room to stay in. But
I got a friend up in Dallas who is already having a rough one for unrelated reasons. But yeah, it turns out that her 3 roommates all have COVID.
Oh God.
Or something. So she's they're all having to hide out in their rooms and avoid each other so that she doesn't get COVID. So that's one thing. And that was already happening. And now it's there's a fucking blizzard, fucking snowstorm. And it just so happened that, it just kind of caught them at a bad time and they didn't have very much groceries. So they weren't able to make a grocery run before it really hit. So 2 days ago, she was there's no food in this house. There's no food in this house. My roommates have COVID, and I'm freezing cold. I'm just luckily, she's fine. They managed to get a quick little grocery run in, so now they have food. But it's holy
That's
shit.
good.
And you could die. Christ.
Yeah.
Which yes, I know people can die. That's duh, that's the whole point. But, sometimes it gets a little closer to you than normally it does.
Yeah, it hits closer to home.
Yeah, when it's a specific person you're talking to, where you're oh, this is really serious. Holy cow. Yeah, puts a human face on it. Anyway, yeah, no, shit sucks.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm in California right now, honestly. Don't get me wrong, everything's on fire in the fall time. But at least we're used to that because it happens every year and we can prepare for things being on fire.
Yeah.
And by we prepare, I mean, we, the citizens of California, can stock up on things. I don't mean the government will do anything to fix PG&E's faulty power lines, Gavin. So, same problem. Fun fact, my friend Jamie has a theory that I think is 100% correct. He thinks that Texas and California are actually the same state, separated by 20 years of gerrymandering. Which is, as someone who's lived in both, people do not understand how true that is. They're not nearly as different as you might think. They're the same state. Yeah, so.
Yeah, but the fact that I know what California's state flag looks like means they're the exact same state. Those are the only two state flags I know.
It's not a good flag either. Texas is a lot better because they're like, look, we're like our own little version of America. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Look, I don't love Texas. I mean, no, sorry. I do. You can love things even if they're full of problems. That's what love is all about. I do love Texas. Mm-hmm. Texas sucks ass. But I will say, Texas's flag rules. No, I will not brook any criticisms of Texas's wonderful, beautiful flag.
So good. But
speaking of Texas's flag, we should. Oh, right. I haven't talked about my week yet.
What did you do?
I was about to do a really awful non-segue. I'm fine. I've just been packing. I'm moving in. Oh God, today's not even Wednesday. Today's Thursday. I am starting my move in less than a week, and I am hyped out of my mind for it. Huh?
Where are you moving to?
Oh, just another part of town.
Okay.
Because I'm moving in with my girlfriend, which is very exciting and fun. And anyway, I kind of got. I've been hyper focusing on it. So like I'm like I gotta pack, and then finally I finished packing like literally every single thing I own and like doing all the cleaning, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm not moving for literally another week. Why was I obsessing over this so much? I have literally so much time. I'm about as packed as you can possibly be, considering that I can't get things out of like there's no more room in my room for boxes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Until the boxes can leave, I can't do any more packing or cleaning. Like I can't clean the room because the room is full of boxes. But anyway, but yet I'm still like gotta do it. I'm very, very excited. It's very exciting. It's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 5 entire days to move, which is awesome. Way more than I usually get. It's really a blessing. And yeah, that's pretty much my whole life, besides just looking at the news and being concerned and texting my friends in Texas and hoping that everyone's okay and, stuff like that. My parents got stranded. My parents just happened to be driving from San Diego to Austin when the blizzard hit.
Oh, God.
So eventually the road they're like, we'll get there before it hits. Like we're already on the road, but you can't fucking change your plan now, right? So hopefully we'll get to Austin before it hits. And they did not. So they had to just pull over and stop and stay at a hotel in like West Texas. Being like, I guess we're here now for the foreseeable future. And now that I think about it, I haven't checked in on them. Hopefully they're fine. I'm sure if they weren't fine, they would have texted me. So, last time I checked, they were fine though. Oh wait, no. I texted them. They got home to Bay City just safe. Or they got home to Austin safe, and then they texted me since they got to Austin. That's good. Thank goodness. Now I don't feel like a bad.
That's good.
Now I don't feel like a bad daughter. I mean, not for that reason at least.
Other reasons, plenty of other reasons.
Yeah. Anyway, it's the same shit all around. It's things suck, but whatever. Time to let's speaking of things that suck, let's listen to some music and talk about Septerra Core.
Oh God, I'm so glad.
That was a good one.
So glad we can agree on this.
When we last left our heroes, we had failed at stopping a chunk of Shell 4 from being lifted, but we succeeded at saving the people who lived there. As is tradition, the game doesn't tell you anything, so you go talk to Layla. We tell her that the genome device is destroyed and we can't stop the next shell. So Layla says we have to go stop Daskius directly, but to do so, we need to get Marduk's weapons, as they are diametrically opposed to Gemma's, so we'll be able to stop him with them. Remember, Marduk is the good name, Gemma is the bad name, even though they sound opposite.
I still cannot figure this out. I was doing I was streaming 2 weeks ago, and I was casting summons, and I was like, "Ooh, summon Marduk," and I summoned I summoned Gemma. So I summon Gemma, and I'm like, "Huh, that's kind of weird that the good one would look so bad. It's like fire and brimstone. It's an interesting design decision for an angel." And then an hour later, I was like, "Oh, wait a second. That's because it was the bad one. This is the bad place."
I felt like there's some, and I know it's not going to happen, but if it was a better game, there would be some twist building up where Marduk and Gemma were actually reversed or something like that.
Yeah,
there's a game that has that twist, but I don't want to say the name of it because then that would spoil it.
Yeah, I have finished Septerra Core because there's only 60 words left in the Let's Play after where we are, and so I was like, I wonder how big it's going to be for Maddy and Eli this week, and there's no more twists left. This game is on Lost Odyssey levels of. In the opening scene, you establish the bad guy, and that bad guy dies in the last second of the game. So that's kind of where we're headed. But Marduk's weapons are in his lost city of Babylon, where he ruled thousands of years ago, and it's lost to time somewhere on Shelf 4. It hasn't been seen for thousands of years. And Layla says that we must find Kira's mirror to show us how to get there. She also says, "Do not pollute Marduk's inner temple with violence. It is said that the spirits will exact revenge for such a desecration." Maya will remember that. So we are unleashed on the entire world trying to find any scraps of NPC dialogue that tell us about Kira's mirror. And as you maybe remember, Connor is obsessed with Kira. To meet him the first time, we had to get tattoos to look like Kira.
Every NPC is like, Connor's looking for Kira's mirror.
As you probably don't remember, he is said to have the frame for Kira's mirror on him. I don't remember that being a thing that was mentioned before, but apparently it was.
Because every time I don't know where to go, I talk to all the NPCs again, and they remind me.
And then
I'm like, "Do you know where to go?" I'm like, "Hey, do you have any information about where I need to go to get the second key to the core?" And they're like, "Connor's got Kira's mirror's frame," and I'm like, "It's not what I wanted, but okay."
Great, thanks.
And as you probably forgot because it was a footnote a few weeks ago, the pirates run Shell 5 now. So if you're lucky, armed with this information, you can find the one unassuming NPC with no identifying marks who's walking around the town of Gregor on Shell 5. If you find this man, he says that he has escaped from Connor's prison and he stole a key to get out. So he gives it to you so that you can get in. I was while reading the Let's Play and I saw his face. He literally just has shopkeeper face. And I'm like, cool. This guy. Plot of the game hinges around this guy. But,
makes sense.
So he mentions that the way in is through the subway. So we make our way back to the other side of the subway that we went through a few weeks back. And then we get to the prison area to fight Connor. And the dungeon itself is a lever leads to key, leads to lever, leads to key, leads to boss dungeon, as is tradition.
Yeah.
And
brilliant level design in this game. Yes. Really just spectacular.
The fight with Connor is different this time around because he doesn't have his little guns that you have to trick into shooting him, but he does have a cool mechanic. Maddy, did you figure out the cool way to win this fight?
No. I was okay. Like, it's very obvious what the mechanic is. It's very, very clear and obvious. It's not very clever or smart, except you have to realize it before you start the battle.
Yeah.
Which is the problem. You're talking about like the generator thingy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. There's some kind of like generator thingy behind him that's making a shield. And the whole time you're fighting him, it's very conspicuous. Like there's like giant tubes of electricity going up to him, and he's got hell of defense. But I kept trying to like click like target the thingy, and it just wouldn't let me target it. And I'm just like, what? I don't get it. So if I'm not mistaken, you have to like click on it and destroy it before the battle starts.
Not actually, and it's not a generator, so it's actually pretty darn clever. So while you're walking through the prison, there's a lot of places where like the lights will be out or flickery or something like that, and at some portion of it, there's this thing that looks like a switch, but it doesn't have a lever on it. And if you have grub or lead with you, they'll be like, "Hey, this is a M4 9000 whatever. I'm a nerd, so I know all this techno speak power generator."
9000, he said, sounding kind of like if Halo was a dork.
Yes.
If Halo was a dork.
And so he's like, Grub's like, "Here, let me fix it." So you do that, and it fixes all the lights, and I think opens up a door to give you a chest. And you're like, "Oh, that's cool." But what that also does is it turns on the power in Connor's room. Connor is sitting in a throne. What sort of throne-shaped device is inside of a military prison?
Toilet.
The electric chair.
Oh, yes.
So he's sitting in the electric chair, and the power was off, so it was safe. But the power's no longer off if you get grub or lead to fix the generator. So if you do that, you get the cheap way to win the fight, where you get grub to go, or whoever to go and attack it in the back. That turns on the electric chair and it electrocutes Connor, and you win the fight.
It's actually funny.
Wow.
What's actually funny is during the fight, I remember now, because I did this because remember, this is originally on our list of what to play for last time. So I actually played this like 2 weeks ago. This part of it. After this part is when I stopped playing and picked up this week. I actually remember now when I saw that, I was like, is he sitting in an electric chair? But then I wasn't able to do anything. So I was like, I guess it's turned off, which is, I guess he's just really bold, I guess. But no, it turns out he just assumed no one would ever turn it on. That is quite clever, actually. That's really good. Also, the idea of having a trick that you notice after it's too late to have done it is also kind of cute. It's like, hey, should have explored earlier, buddy.
Yeah.
There was one dungeon that we went through that was just full of toilets, and that was why
you figured it was a toilet.
I have some words on that dungeon. I love that dungeon.
But
got some choice words for them.
After Connor dies, he drops Kira's frame, so we take it and go back to Layla. She tells us that we have to restore the mirror using Corite and that silvery Doric ore that Badu unearthed back on Shell 7 way back when you first joined the party. So we use the pickaxe that the hermit gave us last week on the Doric ore, take the Corite lens and the ore to the hermit, who says, I can carve it, but I can't actually bind the two together to make a mirror surface. You need to go ask the Underloss. So you go to the chief of Bone Circle Village, you show him the frame, he combines the lens and the Doric ore together. We then take that back to the hermit, he carves it into the right shape, and just like that, we restore Kira's mirror.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, we have all of the pieces and we have to talk to people in the right order, but not actually that hard to recreate a ancient holy artifact. Yeah,
turns out you just gotta be good at smithing. It's not like, oh, you need the special magic spell. No, you just, the guy who knows how to cut a mirror. You can cut this mirror just like any other mirror. You just gotta cut it real good, I guess. So now we must get to Babylon. You can see it from the world map,
but it won't let you land. So apparently there are no such thing as parachutes or small craft that can land around trees on Septerra.
So this part's funny.
No one has ever...
Yeah, no one's ever... Remember how earlier I mentioned how this game has lots of hidden secret areas that don't appear on the world map as like... They don't appear on the world map as locations, you just... But if you happen to click on them precisely... Like, you know how normally, like, if you mouse... For those of y'all not playing the game, if you're on the internet and you mouse over a link, your mouse cursor changes into a different symbol, right? Like that's what happens on the internet when you mouse over something, like little hand. Well, that happens in this game too. When you mouse over something interactable, the cursor changes what it looks like. Or if you mouse over a location, the cursor changes. So there's areas where if you mouse over them, the cursor doesn't change or anything. But if you click, it turns out it's a secret location. There's a number of them, and some of them have really good treasure, as I mentioned before. This has been prominently on the world map the entire time. It's this really cool little... It's this cool little blue building that looks like some kind of ancient ruin or something. I'm not up on my ancient civilizations, but I think Mayan maybe kind of what it looks like. I think like a Mayan ruin. I'm not really sure. I'm not up on my what the architecture of those groups looked like. But anyway, and it's just so I've clicked on it a zillion times, being like, can I land here? Is this a thing? And eventually I gave up and I was like, you know what? I guess it's just graphics. I guess it is just graphics. And now finally, after, as Sam is about to say, we go through this long, winding, alternate route through secret passages, and then you show up, and it's like, oh, it's this place. Well, I've been trying to land here for like the last 20 hours of the video game, and now you're telling me that. But also, yeah, it's like, wait, this place is a secret place that's hidden by like magical ancient prophecies, but you could just go there. Like you could just, if you had a hatchet, if you had a hatchet and enough food and provisions, you could just hack your way through the forest until you get there. It's not like protected by a barrier. It's not underground. It's just chilling in the forest. So like the only thing you need Kira's Mirror for is just to like help you know where to go, which is like, sure, makes sense, but it's quite funny to me.
Yeah, like we could have just flown low, like get Lobo to drive slow. We jump out onto the roof, rappel down. We could have used that big grappling
hook that we used earlier.
Yeah, like we could have done literally so many things besides walking on foot through a dungeon. Through a jungle
to Marty O'Donnell. We could have done a halo jump.
To actually get there, we have to go to the jungle from the sewers in Shell 4, like we did before. And there we use Kira's Mirror to shine light from this little light shaft into a leaf inside of a terrarium that we shoved in the wall. This will cause the wall to retract and lead us into the dungeon proper. When you get to the dungeon, there prominently displayed is the temple. If you try to go there, it is closed with no apparent mechanism to open it. Just a tablet that says that the devout walk this path: water, earth, air, and fire. So all of the temples nearby are named after the elements, so we know the order that we have to do them in. You do 4 dungeons, you flip 8 levers, you fight 4 sentinels of progressing difficulty, and you return with 4 temple keys. Were any of the fights cooler besides just they're big and hard?
At this point, you have a win button for every battle. That's not exactly it. Okay,
I'm still cheating my ass off.
So where to start? So, a lot of the actual battles, sometimes this game just whams you with its random mobs just out of fucking nowhere. It's like, oh yeah, this mob actually has a spell that kills your entire party. Like, hey man, how's it going? You doing okay? The bosses are fine. Here's the thing about this dungeon though, because it is 4 entire goddamn dungeons, I realized I had to start thinking about the game in a different, interesting way. I couldn't just hit the win button every single battle because the win button takes up too much MP, even given the fact that I have 99 MP restore items. So it wasn't that the battles were hard, but it was that, oh, this dungeon is so long that I can't use an entire bar of MP every single battle. So I need to actually start conserving my MP, which was neat. It's neat to have a game where you have to conserve your MP despite literally having the maximum allowed number of healing items. So I would be like, okay, well, so I actually was digging into it. I was like, okay, well, this guy, I'll use fire magic instead of, I was actually digging into elemental weaknesses for the first time ever, like zombies weak to fire. So instead of just using the chaos spell, the black hole spell that does a zillion damage, I'm like, yeah, the fire spell does a pretty good bit of damage, and even using it twice is way less MP than using the black hole spell. So I'll do that instead. Anyway, the bosses are pretty much fine. The only real thing is that they're really, as most things are at this point in the game, really strong to physical attacks. So you got to use magic, and they all have one elemental weakness. So you have to just use all 4 elements to determine which one they're weak to. And then you cast the all summon of that element. There are a few tricks here and there. They have some nasty moves you got to keep track of, but mostly just buff yourself, debuff them, hit them with the right element. Yeah, that's pretty much it. They had a few surprises, though I can't really remember them. It's just like, oh fuck, I'm hurt a lot now, stuff like that. But yeah, but when I beat the first boss, I had gone from 99 MP up items to like 76 or something. And I was like, there's 4 sub dungeons. I just used 1/4 of my healing items. Fuck. That means if after the 4th dungeon there's any more dungeon for the 5th, for the central section, I'm fucked. I gotta start conserving these things. But luckily, by the time I beat the second one, I was only down to like 61 or 62. And by the time I beat the third one, I was like down to like 48. So like I got better and better at conserving my MP the more I did. As I figured out the strat, which was cool. It was kind of fun. I like doing that. And then I ended up beating all 4 of them with 25 left. So I used 3/4 of them for the full dungeon. So yeah, I significantly improved my my efficiency. I also got better at stealth. Interesting comment about this dungeon. Actually, no, I'll comment on it later. But yeah, anyway, that's the gameplay update.
Cool. Nice. So these 4 keys get us through the 4 doors, but then there is a 5th door, and the carving in the 5th door looks like Marduk's royal seal. So if you put your talisman and Elisa's talisman together, you get Marduk's royal seal, and it fits in the final door and lets us inside.
Yay!
Inside, we grab the blades of Marduk, and right as we do, Connor shows up. He says that he knew that the mirror would lead to treasure, and he let us take it so that he could come and get it. Maya's like, we need them to save the world, and he's like, but I don't want to save the world. I want to make people into dinosaurs. And
it's like a 5-year-old's dream. I want to make people into dinosaurs.
That's a Spider-Man comic, right?
Yeah, it's a Spider-Man / X-Men comic. It's actually
my brain was like, that's X-Men, right? And then my brain was like, no, it's Spider-Man. I'm glad to know that both parts of my brain were right.
Yes.
Alternatively, it's the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yes. And so he whips out his gun, but unfortunately for him, Layla's warning about not doing violence was very, very real. Spirits show up and rip his atoms apart.
Yep.
And
sucks to be him.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. Oops, all berries.
So we trek back to Layla with our swords in hand, and she tells us that the Watchers have stopped watching the Watchmen and use their powers to destroy Doskius' fleet. And I'm sure that would have looked really cool in an FMV or like a dungeon we had to do or any sort of on-screen activity. But instead, the big looming presence of Doskius' fleet is handled in a text box. So Doskius' flagship has crashed on Shell 2, and we must go there and steal the Doomsday device so that we can safely do the prophecy, which we will do next time.
Yep. Just as a heads up to amp up the drama, there are now some side quests we can do. This is in fact the PNR, by the way. Unlike, for example, .hack.gu, the game does not very, very, very obviously and insistently make sure you know it's the PNR. They don't do that. It's an older game. But one thing that's interesting about this, and I'll just tell y'all who, those of you who are listening, if you're playing along that way, it's going to do the FF6 style party split. But even weirder than FF6, you don't get to pick your party split. It is plot determined. So make sure everyone in your party is fully outfitted. Money doesn't matter anymore, so it shouldn't be hard. Also, there's a couple of side quests, including everyone's favorite side quest, and by that I mean my favorite side quest, the birds, feeding birds.
Yes.
You do the bird. The final 10 out of 10 was in the dungeon this week. It was in one of the four Marduk temple sections, and it's like it looks different. It's like kind of colorful. It's like a tropical looking bird. It's literally a different stripe than the other birds. And I screamed. It was great. I'm really excited about it. I didn't actually get all 10 because I missed 2. I actually missed 2 of them, so I got to go back and get them. But hey.
I noticed that when I fed that one bird in the temple, I was like, I still have 2 bird seed. Maddy missed a couple.
Sorry. Which is funny because I feel like I cared the most about this side quest, but I missed some.
You did. It happens. I stole Maddy's save file because my game soft locked due to me giving myself all of the items. So that was my bad. I did not give myself all of the items again. And I might actually try to fight Doskius normally.
I looked ahead on an FAQ, and apparently it's easy. Apparently it's really easy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the hardest boss and the true final boss, as a lot of people a lot of games have, where it's not the final boss, but once you get past here, the final boss is easy. Was the fire elemental from this week? Everything from here on out is pretty smooth sailing. But let's listen to some more Halo music, and then we'll talk about our memorable moments. The only memorable moment that I picked up on, because there was only 20 minutes of plot this week, was the subway dungeon that you go to. At least from what I could tell, this might not be 100% true, but because all the worlds have gotten all fucked and everything, when you go back through the dungeon, you take different pathways through it. Things are overturned and stuff like that is what it looked like, at least, which I thought was really cool.
No, I noticed that too. It was really
but I didn't play either of those dungeons, so I'm not certain.
No, it
did look like they were doing cool stuff.
You picked up on it. It was tight.
Yeah, but that's all that I had. What do you guys have?
I remember that this game sucks. I'm really trying. I'm really trying hard, and I will say that there have been some very charming moments, like with the work bots at the beginning, unionizing. That was cute and funny. For the most part, even the people I was streaming the game to were like, "Oh my god, this is awful."
Yeah,
and I know they were trying. I know they were, and I get it. It was also the late 90s, and a lot of companies were kind of figuring things out as far as as far as how to program and how to do various things. I get it, and I'm trying to be very understanding with that, but
sometimes it sucks.
Sometimes it sucks. Yeah, sometimes
games
just suck.
Something that's cool, and instead it isn't.
You don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, it just doesn't pan out the way you hoped. And, I appreciate that they tried, but also maybe they shouldn't have tried.
I think they really should try.
Never try.
Don't never try. Yeah. Sometimes Homer is right. Okay.
Yeah, I posit that they should try, because we should normalize making bad art. Too many people
I'm glad that they tried.
get discouraged because their art is bad. So
I mean, me.
And so shout outs to this guy. He's actually, this is the 20th anniversary of, or 25th or something, of Septerra Core, which is like this whole year we accidentally played anniversary games, and it's wild. But so he's like going in depth on like how Septerra Core was his baby, and he like fought for it along the way, and I love that. Like the game ended up kind of sucking, but like it kind of rules in the way that it sucks, and it was his baby to do it, and I love it for that. But good God, you can do things in a dungeon that aren't flipping levers.
I'm glad it exists. Yeah, and also it pays the bills, so good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I think it sold okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that there were people who really loved it back in the day.
Some of my stream viewers still love this game, and you know what?
Yeah.
Good for them.
I'm proud of them for enjoying a game. I'm glad that they can enjoy, and I genuinely appreciate people who like the things that I don't like, because that's good. The diversity is a good thing. I want people to enjoy things that I maybe don't. But there are so many other games that I also hate that I would rather be playing than this. I keep coming back to Rogue Galaxy. I did not like that game at all. I really but there were parts of it that were enjoyable enough that I'm like, I would much rather be playing that than this.
Yeah.
I would rather be playing a Dark Souls game. I fucking hate Dark Souls.
Yeah, I think I can pretty fairly say, I actually would say that this game, if I were to rank all the games we played, I would say this is the second worst game that we've played, and that the worst game we've played is in fact Rogue Galaxy. But I like this game more than Rogue Galaxy with my brain. But I agree that I would rather, if I had to actually play one of the video games instead of just think about it, I would rather play Rogue Galaxy than this game, yes. But enjoyability of playing is only one part of a video game. So I would say least favorite game to actually play, only second least favorite game that we played on this pod. Also, I will say, I think I said last week I've started playing it while listening to classical music. Well, now I play it while listening to podcasts. And I gotta say, I'm not going to complain about a dungeon being way too long if I'm listening to Revolutions with Mike Duncan and learning about the revolutions of 1848. It's great. Learning all about Adolphe Thiers and all those French people. It's dope. Love it.
Oh yeah,
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Yeah. Great video game. 10 out of 10. Play this game if you want to finally understand who the fuck Otto von Bismarck is.
I can learn that from playing Civilization.
Anyway, did I have any? Yeah, I have a couple. The aforementioned toilets. When we're in the Connor base, or whatever. It's actually a really cool dungeon. It's again okay. So this game's literally probably greatest strength in general. Its greatest strength is its world building and its graphics. I love its world building. I love how the imagination that it shows, and I love its commitment to it. Because, like, look, I ain't saying I don't like Final Fantasy. Y'all know how much I love Final Fantasy, okay? But those games operate under Rule of Cool. We know this. And Rule of Cool is fun sometimes. It's actually fun a lot of times. Final Fantasy is like, I actually have realized recently, by the way, some issues I have with FF14 and most fantasy is that the more you get into a game's world, the more you're like, oh, this doesn't make any, like, like materialist sense. Like, it doesn't make sense that if you have this level of technology that you would have this society, because the way that your society is structured comes out of your mode of production. So if you have a different mode of production, you would have a different society. Anyway, whatever, it's the whole thing. But anyway, in those games, it's like, hey, this is a fantasy world, right? Doesn't mean you can't have a spaceship or a giant robot or airships or magic armors, because it's cool, right? Whatever. This game doesn't do that at all. and it sometimes can lead to things being a little bland, but it also, I think, is a very admirable thing to do. This game does not break its world building, and even to the point where, like, you go to Marduk's temple, and it's like you have a fire temple and a water temple and an earth temple and a wind temple. In any other game, each of those temples would have been like, the fire temple is like a fucking lava area, and the water temple is like a lake or underwater, and then the wind temple is up in the sky and there's wind blowing, and then the earth temple is, I don't know, it's cave, or just like mud, you know. But no, each of the 4 temples it's just the forest. You're just going through a forest, and like on one hand, that's like kind of boring because it's like more forest, but on the other hand, I couldn't help but respect it. You know, I'm like, no, like these ancient tribes, these ancient people built a temple to the elements of earth, wind, fire, and water. They built it in a forest on Shell 4. And I really respect that. I think that's really, really neat. It's the best thing about the game. I would, any artists out there, just if you have an idea and you're worried that sticking to your guns too much might have negative side effects, like, you know, being a little dull or something like that, I just want to encourage you, stick to your guns. If you have a world that you love, don't break kayfabe. Commit to the bit in general. It's a very admirable thing for anyone to do as an artist. In addition, when you're in Connor's lair or whatever, each part of the dungeon is like very functional. Like, this is very clearly a barracks. This is very clearly a recreation room. This is very clearly the biggest fucking restroom facilities I've ever seen in my fucking life. And you're just running after wall of just toilets up against the wall and showers up against the wall. You're just in bathroom zone. And it rules. I was laughing my ass off at how enormous this, and like you're literally running after, because like they're like copy pasting the tiles, like toilet, shower head, and then you can, but then the tile work was super good. You could see the lighting was really well done, the baked in lighting, and you could see the little grate where the water very clearly is going. And I was like, this is cool, actually. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes your adventure takes you to a volcano or a magical fantasy land or a cool airship. Other times, your adventure takes you to a bathroom. Because sometimes
massive bathroom.
Sometimes you just have to do that. Sorry, like, look, Connor's running a big operation. He's got a lot of hired goons. They need a place to take a shower, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, and like, not for nothing, but we said it's the second to last or last game on best overall game, but this is best toilet dungeon that we've played.
One of the best.
You're right. Oh my god!
One of the best toilet dungeons of all time. Although, fun fact, one of the games that we have definitely committed to playing on this pod actually does have an elaborate and incredible like toilet dungeon.
Nice.
It's a game that we have talked about playing and will be playing at some point if the society doesn't collapse first. You'll find out what it is when we get there.
God, I want to know now.
Yep.
Right. But any others, Maddy?
About this toilet dungeon.
Right. I think that was it. No. A few more short ones. When you go back to the bazaar now, you can see there's a giant gaping hole where the slums used to be, which is cool. And first of all, it's cool because it looks cool on the world map to see that giant gaping hole where you see literally the sky underneath because it's like the bottom of the shell. But also, it's like, they decided to take the part where all the poor people live. That's the part that they decided to murder everyone. Makes sense. Realistic. And that's it. The throne room where you get the cool swords it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It looks cool. It's got some great colors.
Yeah.
It's got reds and blues and lights and the throne. It kind of reminded me of the throne room in The Last Jedi. But there's not much more to say about it besides just it looks dope. So I'm good.
Yeah. Awesome. So if you liked what you hear, you can check us out on the web at www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to the show and keep our lights on, as well as find links to all of our social medias.
Power.
And most notably our Discord, where all of our precious babies live. And starting soon, like within a month, we will have Ko-Fi exclusive episodes where we will play the longest of long casts. Me, friend of the show Bernard, and our sweet baby boy Matt will be playing through the entire Trails series. So we'll be starting at Trails in the Sky and then playing every game. There are currently 10 that are out and playable in English, and there are 2 more that are only playable in Japanese currently. So
Y'all are crazy.
This won't stop from keep happening for the rest of our lives.
Oh my god!
So,
you're literally going to die
if you want,
doing this series.
Playing Trails games, you'll be 80 years old and like, all right, on today's episode of the podcast.
Yeah. So if you are into that, those will be Ko-Fi exclusive. So
God, I hope this keeps going until we're in our 80s.
Me too, man. Like, not only playing games, but like I just love hanging out with you guys every week.
Aww.
And like I read so many things on like Reddit about podcasts and stuff, where they're like, oh, the number one thing that makes me turn off a podcast is if the point of the episode doesn't happen for like 30 minutes where they're just talking at the beginning. And like, that's my favorite part. So I'm never going to cut it. If you're the sort of people that skip until you hear music, because that's when the episode starts, more power to you, but I'm never going to stop. I love hanging out with my friends too much.
Yeah, no, and I gotta say, I like the idea of it. I like their function as a time capsule. Like when I'm listening to Revolutions with Mike Duncan, incredible podcast, by the way. And he doesn't do this at all, which is like more power to him. It's fine, right? I'm here to learn who the fuck Otto von Bismarck is, right? But like I do look at the date each episode comes out, because I like thinking about how it tracks with history and with my life, you know, like, for example, the very first episode of season 8, which is the season on the Paris Commune, was the day after my wedding. Right. Nice. So I'm like, oh, so he was recording this when I was doing this. And then the next week, okay, well, when this happened, I was doing this. Oh, and this is the week when this thing happened in the world. Because he first started doing it in like 2015, something like that. So it's like I've been, in addition to the actual real history I'm learning, I'm kind of reliving the last like 6 years of my own life and U.S. and world history sort of as a side thing in my own brain. And I feel like that happens here too. I don't know. It's yeah. I hope people listen to this and they're like, oh God, that was when that happened. Like someone like a year or two from now will be like, oh God, this was when that blizzard happened. Fuck, I'd forgotten about that because society has gotten better since then.
Yeah.
One hopes.
I'm being optimistic. Shout outs to whoever that person is.
And then in the future when they're listening and they're like, oh no, they're talking about Bean Dad, someone should warn them about the coup happening next week.
No, I thought you were going to say something like, oh no, they're talking about Bean Dad, someone should warn them that in 2 years Bean Dad is going to be the president. Look, things went in some directions, okay? Society had some twists.
Some very weird turns. God, please don't elect Bean Dad for president. Not a good strategy, in my opinion.
Not at all. But also on our Ko-Fi coming soon, I'll get our merch shop back up and running. I have some ideas for some shirts. They're bad, but like they have our name on it. So if you like, if you like shitty memes and us, I got the shirts for you. let's just say if you're the type of person that giggles on the inside every time we refer to a save your game prompt as a Luna, you will love these t-shirts.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm hoping both of those will be up in a month. We have about a month break before I have to record 2 podcasts a week again. So I'm trying to get all of the logistics of everything figured out by then. So
if you want to be terrible and make Sam record 3 podcasts a week, you should donate to donate to our shortcast goal.
Yes. So that I will have to do longcast and or shortcast and podcast no Kaseki and main episode and and Dandy Dungeon all in one week. Make it happen, guys.
I've been playing a fuck ton of Dandy Dungeon.
It's good, right?
Oh my god, I love it so much.
I told you, it's so good.
It's, but like, and part of it is just that it's really addictive.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get all the upgrades and I'm trying to get all the gold trophies and I'm like, why am I wasting my time doing this? But then like the power is out and I can do nothing because my cell service was fucked this week too. Because I live out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. Like anytime the power would go down, I just bust my Switch out and play Dandy Dungeon for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And like, yeah, God, I'm gonna have danger zone stuck in my head forever. Yeah, it's really good, and I'm looking forward to talking about it when we actually do. Sorry to talk about it now.
Spoilers for that episode.
I would love to do more shortcast games like that. Like, it's really fun. Also, I was just talking to my friend who I had been streaming to and who had really taken a fancy to the toilet dungeon. And she says, that place slept 20 people, but you could take 150 shits or 230 showers.
Yep.
So shout outs to Jen. Thank you for that insight.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think we had any new Discord friends this week, but if you want to be our new Discord friend, you could come and join us in the Discord, and I will shout out every new person that joins the Discord until we get like 100 new people a day, in which case I'm not going to keep track. But right now it's a slow trickle, so you can come and join us in the Discord. And if you're listening to this and you like us, drop us a review. We haven't had reviews in like a whole year, so if you like us, let us know. I'll read them on the cast and all that jazz. If
you want to tell us how terrible we are, please also do that.
Oh, absolutely. I would love constructive criticism. I want you to tell me how much you hate hearing about our lives every week. Just please tell me.
Speak for yourselves. If anyone criticizes me, I will cry. I'm just kidding.
So please do it. Make Maddy cry on this podcast.
I mean, look, my hormone
levels
make
Maddy cry, make Eli laugh.
Look, my hormone levels are always fluctuating. I can't guarantee whether I'll cry or not. No promises.
Welcome to estrogen.
I wouldn't want to promise that I'll cry and then someone does it to make me cry and then I don't cry and then they're just disappointed, you know? Yeah. I don't want to disappoint anybody by not crying.
Wouldn't you want to disappoint them if they're being mean?
No.
And making you cry?
Ooh, this is getting awfully close to my family
why
issues.
Are you mean?
Yes, it is now late, and we have talked a lot after ending this episode, so we're going to end it here. Love you all. Have a good rest of your night. I have been Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm fucking stupid. No, I'm Maddie Grace Webb. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Toodaloo, stay warm.
That plot section was 20 minutes long.
Hilarious.